entrepreneurs, small business owners, professionals who seek excellence, bringing the business classroom to you. It's the Business Builders Show. Here's Marty Wolff.
We still got a long way to go. Yes, we all got a long way to go.
Welcome to the Business Builders Show. I'm Marty Wolff, your host for the Business Builders Show, and I'm joined by my sidekick, Mr. Kerry Kearney. Good morning, Kerry.
Good morning.
And Mr. D.C. Taylor is our producer. Hi, D.C.
Good morning, gentlemen.
We'd love to hear from you during or after the show with any questions or comments. So you can text me at 570-815-1626. That's 570-815-1626. This show is for entrepreneurs, small business owners, and professionals who seek excellence. We want to inform, educate, inspire, and entertain you. Now, Kerry, I want to remind you, you are the entertainment portion of the show. So are you ready? Yes. Say yes. Yes, Marty, you're ready to go.
I am ready to go.
No pressure.
Locked and loaded.
Okay.
And I'm glad I fall under that heading as entertainment.
All right. Hey, listen, we're bringing back a guest whose interview generated a ton of interest. Dr. Ira Wolfe, W-O-L-F-E, is back. We're bringing his interview back, and the topic is Recrooglization.
Great interview.
Great interview. A lot of feedback, right, Kerry?
Absolutely.
A lot of feedback. And Recrooglization, I'll give you a little hint, that is the combination of Google and recruiting. He will talk about the state of hiring and recruiting for 2016 and beyond. Now, I want to remind you, the lessons that Ira talks about will apply to you whether you're a 1 or a 2 person shop or a 200 person shop. I've had people running big companies say, send me that article. Who is this guy? And I've had small companies. But in addition to Ira's interview, we're going to build a whole show around his interview, talking about some business trends and predictions in 2016, right, Kerr? So what are we using as the core piece here?
Well, we're not going to get through all of them, but you found a great article in Business News Daily, and it's 50 small business trends and predictions for 2016. And when I went through this, it's a rock solid. All of these points are must know. Mm-hmm. But one of the names that jumped out to me under the heading of human resource was Dr. Ira S Wolfe,
yes.
President of Success Performance Solutions.
Yes.
And that was the first thing I highlighted that we have to go over, Marty.
All right.
And
let's talk about it.
Under the heading of human resources will adapt to a changing workforce. And what struck me was, again, going back to that book by Billy Howard, WeCommerce. The job positions, number of jobs people hold in the future is going to look radically different than today. Mm-hmm. And as a small business, hiring will become more difficult, especially for skilled jobs, leading to longer times to fill open positions.
Yes.
The cost to hire will consequently increase due to a combination of escalating recruiting costs and pressure to increase wages.
Yes.
I took from that, you better have a rock-solid HR department.
Yes.
And they better be up on all of the new trends.
Yes. Now, speaking of trends, I want to repeat again in case somebody's listening to us and they say, well, where are they getting this information? It's coming from Business News Daily. This is a subscription service, Business News Daily. And the topic of the article that we're referring to is 50 small business trends and predictions for 2016. Critically important that you think about these things. You don't necessarily have to react immediately to everything we're talking about, but you need to be thinking about this.
And Marty, let me finish the thought with the HR.
Sure.
Small business owners and management will finally infuse technology into recruiting functions and automate many of the administrative and other labor-intense functions. So the technology wave and the human wave are meeting at another intersection.
They're coming together. Here's another trend they talk about. More businesses will come up for sale as baby boomers look to retire. And with the economic recovery well underway, there's going to be some people who say, well, this could be an opportune time to sell my business. I'm going to retire, or I'm old, or I want to move it. I don't have a succession plan to my family. I want to sell this business. Well, if the market is flooded with these opportunities, then the suggestion is do it sooner rather than, well, not only that, but do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
If it's the first quarter and you want to sell the business, do it now, because as the market becomes more and more flooded with more businesses, it's going to be hard for people to see your business, right?
Absolutely.
So, and potentially your cost could actually drive down because there's going to be more opportunities. You may not be able to get the price that you wanted for your business, right?
Yes.
So what's another one, Kerry, that we have in terms of trends?
I kind of touched upon it. This increasing internet connections that we have, mobile internet, and the human connection. The human connections that businesses make will establish themselves in the I don't even know the word. There's just going to be so much cyber information, cyber business. You cannot let the human side of the business to make the connections. You can't rely on technology solely.
Let me read again to drive home your point. It says, in terms of trends, despite increasing internet connections, human connection remains the most important. Now, we heard from Scott McCain, and I've read other places, and here's an interesting statistic. Millennials still want to talk to someone. So they go online and they may have a problem. They will say, I want to talk to someone. So they're not relying entirely on technology.
Yes.
So that human connection is very, very important.
Technology is going to help with the vetting process.
It's an enabler for a lot of things to happen, but the human connection is still very, very important. Under the category of policy and regulation, and again, this is geared to small businesses. Here's the headline of this little thought process. It says the Jobs Act, Title III, and equity crowdfunding will arrive for small businesses and startups. Now, those of us who have studied crowdfunding, that could get a little interesting because, at some point you may be, kind of pushing against some laws and some regulations with crowdfunding. And there's been different things happening with that. With the new laws coming in, this means that it's likely that every business will have the chance to raise investment through crowdfunding, even from non-credited investors. See, that's where this crowdfunding and raising money, kind of gets a little hairy, if you will.
Dicey.
This is opening it up. So you're crowdfunding. So pay attention to the laws around that if you're thinking about raising capital in 2016. What's the next one, Kerry?
Lobbying on patents.
Yeah, lobbying on patents.
Put small business at a disadvantage. It says Congress has been working on patent reform under the guise of combating patent troll attacks on legitimate patents. Unfortunately, the process has been hijacked by big businesses that are trying to make it more difficult for legitimate small business investors to defend their patents.
Yes.
The importance of the money in the political process has put the small businesses at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah.
Tell me something new.
Yeah, tell me something new. Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, small businesses are trying to crush us small guys, right?
Yeah, big
guys and gals. Well, in this patent process, if you are thinking about or you are moving on the patent process, it's a confusing thing.
Yes.
And there are people who say, hey, you can go a lot and learn a lot online and you can figure a lot of this online. But you are definitely going to have to go to a patent attorney pretty early on. Now, there are people who disagree with me. But
keyword, patent attorney.
Attorney.
Watch the new movie Joy. You'll learn something.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. So that's complex. But again, Kerry, as you pointed out, nothing new necessarily. Another point is more cloud-based services, meaning strong cyber security is a must.
Absolutely.
So next year, 2016, the trend towards cloud-first companies will pick up speed. All startups born in 2016 will be part of the cloud generation. Let me repeat that. Startups born in 2016 will be part of the cloud generation. If you don't know what I mean by the cloud, boy, you better go back to the basics, right?
Yeah. Now, there are some brick and mortars out there that, don't know what the cloud is, don't use the cloud, but that is the trail of the dinosaur.
Yes. The things like SaaS or software as a service, that is going to continue to escalate. You're going to hear more about that. But as things go out in the cloud, always, whether you had a server-based system or you're on the cloud, cybersecurity, if you're paying attention to the United States government and happening in the world, security, no matter what size business, is very, very important. This is one of the important trends. We are talking about an article from Business News Daily, 50 Small Business Trends and Predictions for 2016. We did it in this first segment, and we're going to carry it through on the last segment of the show. Next, you have coming up is Dr. Ira Wolfe, and he's going to talk about Recrooglization. Again, one of our most listened to spots on the Business Builder Show. We'll be right back on the Business Builder Show. Stay tuned.
Bringing the business classroom to you. It's the Business Builders Show with Marty Wolff. Presenting the thought leaders of today. It's the Business Builders Show with Marty Wolff.
Welcome back to the Business Builder Show on the Biz Talk Radio Network. My special guest today is Dr. Ira Wolfe. Hi, Ira. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing really well.
It's great to have you back. My co-host, Kerry Kearney, pointed out that you are, well, he had a weird way of saying it, but...
Repeat offender.
Yes, Ira is back for more, and there's reasons for that. But let's set up this discussion by introducing Ira. Dr. Ira Wolfe has an uncanny knack to forecast workforce trends and a compelling perspective, an innovative approach to recruiting and hiring employees. Dr. Ira S Wolfe has become a renowned thought leader and popular speaker and writer on talent management. Ira is a columnist for Business to Business magazine, Huffington Post, and that list goes on of who he's been interviewed by, articles. And Ira, congratulations, you're finally hitting the big time. You're on the Business Builder Show with Marty Wolff.
I have. This is my pinnacle. I don't know where I go from here.
Hey, listen, it is a pleasure to have you back. And, you sent something to me that I know is going to be heard all over the nation, maybe all over the world. I'm not even going to take the chance of saying the title of your article. I'm going to let you take that. What is the title of the article? And let's start talking what it is all about.
Okay. Well, thanks, Marty. I appreciate that. The title of the article, or kind of white paper or ebook, was called Recrooglization.
Okay.
Which is kind of my conjunction of recruiting and Google. As a Googlization, I guess. And, we're kind of living in a world where it seems that employers and recruiters are still trying to use a typewriter to post on Facebook and Twitter. And the old technologies and the old tools just aren't working anymore. And so I kind of came up with the term recroogle or recrooglization.
Yeah. Well, I guess this is coming from your practical experience of what you do and hearing from other people. I'm sure this is where it came from. But also part of it, in the article, I'm looking at it, it says the CEO of the National Association of Home Builders describes the situation, and that is finding talent, as an academic. The Associated General Contractor Survey reports 86% of commercial builders are having trouble filling hourly and salaried positions. 65% of HR officials are at small companies are struggling too. So there's just a need to find talent, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not sure if it was a typo that you misread or that you just said another word.
Let's correct me.
Actually, the CEO of National Association of Home Builders said it was an epidemic, not an academic.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for correcting me.
So with that, no, it's absolutely. We're in crisis. The employers who are busy, and despite what you read in the media, there's many employees that are many businesses that are doing pretty well. Everybody's in a state of flux, but they're really struggling trying to find enough people. And that goes twofold. One is, the debate is out there, is it that there's not enough skilled workers? The other aspect is, are they just using the wrong tools and strategies and medium to find where the people are? And I believe it's both. But especially working with the companies that I'm working with, and I know you work with a lot of businesses as well. It's a new model out there. It's a new world. It's a new labor market. It's a new marketplace. And yet, at least in HR and recruiting, they're trying to kind of pigeonhole the same old strategies back into a box, and that box doesn't exist anymore.
So let's go a little deeper on what is the obvious question that we're already starting to address: is why should management and business owners even care about this? Well, let's go deeper into that. Let's kind of drive that point home. Why should they care?
Well, they need employees. It doesn't matter if they're downsizing. It doesn't matter if they're automating. It doesn't really matter. But companies still need employees. They still need workers. They need to find people. At the top of the game is that we're in this demographic shift. Currently, just this year, millennials became 35% of the population. So they now make up the largest demographic segment of all the generations in the workforce. Within 5 years, it's going to be well over 50%, and by 2025, it's going to be the millennials are going to make up 75% of the workforce, and yet people are just hanging on to baby boomers. You and I believe, or some of them, but eventually we're going to fade out of the limelight, and that's happening quicker. So bottom line is if an employer needs to find employees, then they need to change the way they're doing it.
Ira, you mentioned that I guess we're classified as baby boomers, but I know in your bio it says you've been described as a Gen Y trapped in a baby boomer body. I share that. I like to think I'm the same thing.
I believe that. Well, that's why we're talking. That's why you and I connected about a year ago at in a meeting, and immediately connected. And that's probably why. It's how we think. It's what our attitude is.
How are young people actually searching for jobs? What are they actually doing?
Well, it's rather interesting. In a lot of the research a lot of the surveys that are coming out, it's as high as 90%, 9 out of 10 candidates are starting a search using a mobile device. That means they're not getting the Sunday newspaper, as you and I maybe 40 years ago tried. They're not even sitting at a desktop. They're not going to the library. They're literally pulling out their smartphone or a tablet and starting a search, just seeing what's available. And in addition to that, when they use the smartphone, they're probably going to check out up to 18 different sources based on one of the surveys. I don't remember who did it, but it might have been Glassdoor. But they're going to, some may check Career Builder and a Monster. They're kind of old hat at this point, but they may use Indeed. But they're going to check with their friends on Facebook. They may check Twitter. They're checking different career sites. They may decide, hey, there's lots of ads for the holidays. That would, Best Buy, maybe that's a cool place to work for. And they go and check out the company websites. Yeah. So,
hold that thought, Ira, because we're down to the last minute in this particular segment. So tell me the title of your article again and how people can access that.
Okay. It's called Recrooglization. And they can access that on my website. The website's at successperformancesolutions.com, or I can give them a short way to do it. It's they can go to bit.ly/Recrooglization. And maybe after the break we can spell that for them.
Well, we can spell it now. We got time. Spell it.
Okay. It's Recrooglization.
Yes. And you started to go down the road to what's the response? What's the employer's response to the way, or non-response, to the way pretty much younger people, I'll say, are actually looking for opportunities. So that's where we want to pick up. That makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So we have, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh, no, it's a great next step. And absolutely. I mean, basically, job seekers, millennials are looking on mobile devices, and employers just aren't ready for it. They're just not there.
We're listening to Dr. Ira Wolfe, and we'll be right back on the Business Builder Show on the Biz Talk Radio Network. Stay tuned.
Bringing the business classroom to you. It's the Business Builders Show with Marty Wolff. Informing, educating, and encouraging. The Business Builders Show with Marty Wolff.
Welcome back to the Business Builder Show on the Biz Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Marty Wolff, and my special guest is Dr. Ira S Wolfe, and his last name is spelled W-O-L-F-E. Ira, your website to access all your wisdom and this particular article, how do people access that?
They can go to successperformancesolutions.com. I also have a blog at perfectlaborstorm.com. So, either place.
Excellent. During the break, my co-host, Kerry Kearney, was brought up, I thought, an interesting point, and you had an interesting answer. So, Kerry Kearney, give us a question, man.
Yeah, being in sales for way too many decades, I was always told you have to fish where the fish are at. And thinking of that, I kind of thought, if that's true, in your situation, we have to use new lures. I wonder what's your comment on that?
Well, that's part of the equation. The other part is that everybody had their favorite fishing hole. And with today, with the technology, with the internet, with social media, there's lots of fishing holes. The problem is you got to find them. So it's a combination of, I love that analogy, but it's a combination of using different lures, better lures, but it's also finding the multiple fishing holes that are available.
Awesome.
Interesting. Well, isn't Google, though, just another tool that employers can use to help to hire workers? Isn't that where they go to hire workers these days?
Well, Google's probably beyond just search engine. Obviously, it's changing the way we live. You know, Google's a brand, it's a product. They're making cars and visual reality.
Right.
Google is, Google's a way of life. It's disrupted everything we know.
Yes.
How we communicate, how we operate, how we interact. So, yeah, Google, if you're just thinking Google is a tool, it's going to be very self-limiting. It's beyond that. I mean, we just live in a different world where we're all connected. Information is available 24/7. Just the technology behind it, again, it's changing everything from the way we see, watch, observe, and soon drive.
You know, Ira, one of the blessings of getting a little older is we can reflect back on just how powerful that is, what you just said, how the world has changed. And those of us who are paying attention, it's been dramatic. It's been wild, hasn't it?
I'm enjoying it. You know, we were also talking in the break, you mentioned earlier, I was described as the millennial trapped, or the baby boomer trapped in a Gen Y trapped in a baby boomer body.
Yeah.
And, it's all about attitude. My mother's 92 years old.
Wow.
She's on the internet. She only turns on her mobile phone when she wants to call in, or she wants to call out.
Yeah.
But she's on the internet daily. She just travels. She looks for her trips that way. Again, it's all attitude.
It's a different world. So let's get into some real practical tips for our audiences, which is primarily small business owners and entrepreneurs. Do you have some suggestions on what they can do to attract and to hire more qualified applicants? You have some suggestions?
Yeah, it came up with, again, sometimes it's just easier to do it, came up with an acronym, and it's called REACH. So, one is you need to reach, in order to be more effective, going back to our fishing holes, we need to reach more job seekers. And one of the ways to do that, we talked right before the break about using a mobile device. While 90% of job seekers are using some type of tablet or smartphone to look for a job, only less than 10% this year of corporate websites, of company websites, are mobile ready.
Wow.
Which means that I'm sitting there, I decide, I don't care what age I am, I don't care,
Sure.
I'm in my 60s. So if I decided to look for a job, I'd pull out my iPhone, I'd do a search, and the site that I would end up on, I can't read. Because I have to do that old pinch and squeeze, kind of look around, find out what the job is. The job postings are horrible. They're cut and paste from job descriptions. They're boring. All that's got to change. So one of the things, and starting with reach, is the R is you need to reach the audience. You need to find those fishing holes. And you need to be able to communicate on that same plane. The next step is you need to engage, which we sort of stepped into already. First impressions matter. if I end up on a site that I can't read, if the job description's boring, the job posting doesn't interest me, I'm gone. And we already know that especially younger people have an instant gratification. So if you don't grab them right off it's all marketing. If you don't grab them right away, they're gone. So you need to extend the reach. You need to engage. You need to be a better marketer. We call it recruiters need to be madmen of marketing.
Yes.
And then you have to look at the application process. The old way of applying, filling in the blanks, long applications, asking a billion questions, asking people to submit a resume and fill out an application, it's redundant. Thinking of that process, if you ask more than 20 questions, the drop-off rate is incredible, what we call candidate abandonment. Candidates, if you are attracting the right people and they start the application, but you lose them because your process is bad, that's just bad business.
Yeah.
And we need to look at that.
Wow.
You need to converse afterwards. One of the biggest complaints I have, anybody that I talk to, when we're talking about what's going on in the workplace, and say, "Oh, isn't it horrible that businesses just don't communicate after I applied?" And someone say, "I applied to 10 or 15 employers, and I never heard from anyone."
Amazing.
Well, I call it ghosting. I wrote an article about ghosting.
Interesting.
You can't be invisible. I mean, if somebody takes the time to submit an application, you got to stop and at least thank him for the application and tell him what the next step is. That's all. It's very simple. It could be automated, but you got to do it. And that's the C. And then H is hiring doesn't stop when you extend the job offer.
Right.
1 out of 5 people, after they accept a job, then turn it down for buyer's remorse or whatever reason. And the hiring's got to onboard, especially with the millennials. You've got to bring the people in. You got to introduce them to the culture. You make sure that they're comfortable. So it's kind of the 5 steps that we use as a guideline.
Interesting.
Is reach. You got to reach. You got to engage. You got to apply. You got to start a conversation. And hiring doesn't stop at the job offer. It continues on after.
Ira, you mentioned the word marketing halfway through that great information that you shared. As far as I know, the combination of, or let's say the alignment of marketing and HR, have they in the past worked together well, and do they need to change the way they work together?
Yeah, they work together like oil and water, which we know doesn't.
Yeah.
My analogy in the article was that they got to blend together like sugar and spice. They've got to work together. Recruiters are marketers. In fact, I just read an article yesterday, and I'll probably rewrite something about it. One of the competencies for recruiters are hire salespeople. Kerry, there you go. We got a job.
There you go. Yeah.
You need competent salespeople, and that also is an oxymoron in HR. I mean, HR and sales and marketing didn't get along very well.
Yes.
HR and recruiting, they need to pick up marketing skills and digital marketing skills.
Yes.
When you post a job description, it's got to be SEO, search engine optimized.
Yeah.
You got to use keywords. You've got to job seekers are typing in words to find the job, and those words aren't always being used by the companies. Vice versa is, job seekers, candidates, they hire people to ghostwrite their resume. And what do you think they're doing is they're putting in keywords.
Sure.
The keywords that the recruiters are looking for. That doesn't mean they're qualified. Just because they have the right keywords doesn't mean they have the skill sets. So there's a whole game out there. That's where Google fits in.
Yeah.
We learn to master that game of keywords.
Yeah. And again, how do people reach you, get this article, learn more about what you're doing? Tell us that again.
Well, certainly my website is a great place, www.successperformancesolutions.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. Sometimes I tell people just type my name in, Ira Wolfe with an E, W-O-L-F-E, into Google, and I will show up in lots of places. But
you do.
Again, active on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and certainly the website.
We've got a minute left, and here's where I want to spend that last minute, because let's assume everything works, and the company is just flooded with applications. You talk about some solutions to that, right?
Yeah, well, that's the counter side of this. When I tell someone that they have to go to 18 different sources, imagine that. You have to have 18 fishing holes. and somebody says, how am I going to manage all that?
Yeah.
You're going to find more talent, but you're also going to have more unqualified people apply because it's just easy these days to do that. There's got to be technology. We highly recommend one of the technologies that's been around but becoming much more popular is an applicant tracking system or an applicant processing software. It allows companies to extend the reach, to go to those 18 fishing holes, but it also allows them to filter through, to automate that process, to easily eliminate the high-risk people or the unqualified people so that they can immediately go to kind of reach out to the people who might qualify.
With that, Ira, we need to cut it off. So Ira Wolfe has been my guest. So search him, Google him, Dr. Ira Wolfe, W-O-L-F-E. Thanks for being on the Business Builder Show, Ira.
Okay, thanks to both of you. Appreciate it very much.
Presenting the thought leaders of today. It's the Business Builder Show with Marty Wolff. Presenting the thought leaders of today. It's the Business Builder Show with Marty Wolff.
Welcome back to the Business Builder Show. I'm your host, Marty Wolff. Kearney is with me in the studio. Mr. D.C. Taylor is in the studio with me also. We are having a lot of fun, and we're learning a ton from Dr. Ira Wolfe. What a great article. What great information. Recrooglization, right, Kerry?
Yes.
Now, like we did in the first segment, we're building around trends. Ira was talking about trends and what's happening in hiring and HR and all that kind of stuff. We've identified an article, and we're talked about in the first segment. We're going to talk about more trends here. Give me the article again.
Yeah, it's from Business News Daily, and this was published on December 10th, 2015, and it's 50 small business trends and predictions for 2016. And Marty, what I liked about this, that each of the 50 suggestions, they gave the name of the person in their title, such as the one we're going to talk about, mobile beacons. That's from a girl named Christine Rochelle, Director of Digital Marketing and Operations for Lotus 823. And that's a hyperlink.
Right.
So if we mention something that really piques your interest, go to this article. You can find click-through links to learn more about what the seeds we're dropping today.
Okay, well, let's continue with some of these trends that are very important that you think about as a small business, because these things will directly or indirectly affect your business. So let's talk about something that's called mobile beacons. Mobile beacons will roll out in earnest. What the heck is a mobile beacon?
Well, I took it as like a beacon, a lighthouse. They will shine a light, so you know how close or where you're at.
This is why this is really important. Well, let's make sure we drive home this point. It says it right here. For small businesses who have brick and mortar locations, location marketing is going to be a game changer.
Right.
So you can put out, and I guess this is a Facebook kind of thing, right? Is that it?
Well, Facebook is rolling it out, but the Bluetooth. So I'm driving down Madison Avenue, picking up my daughter, and I have this technology in it. I'll get a little beep or a beacon that says chicken parmesan.
Right.
$5.97 at 123 Hearst Street.
Right.
Woo.
I have a clothing store. I run this bricks and mortar retail store. I can put out, hey, shirts on sale today, suits $4.99. Who the heck pays $4.99 for a suit, DC?
$499.
No, really?
Johnny Armani.
Do people really pay $499 for a suit?
I've heard of it.
You've heard of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this whole idea of mobile beacons, fascinating. Now, I'm not sure if I saw this in here or I saw this someplace else, Kerry, but think about this. This is what this is. It's brick and mortar businesses using technology to beat technology.
Yeah, I could see it.
Now think about that,
Yeah.
right? So you're getting your brains kicked in from technology because you own a shop. You have a bricks and mortar. Well, now, okay, you can start to compete now.
Yeah, because if you think about it, I go to Yelp or whatever. I want to find a chicken parmesan. I go and use technology, find a list of all the chicken parmesan places. Now this, if I've signed up for it correctly using Beacon, I get a shout out.
Absolutely.
Hey, we got chicken parmesan. I didn't even have to look for it.
I'm hungry and I want a new suit. Just listening to this whole conversation. Okay, here's another trend.
No suits for you.
No suits for me. Okay, mobile-friendly websites and SEO will be even more crucial marketing tools. In 2016, small businesses will have to dedicate more time and resources to build mobile into their marketing and branding. Google has some new mobile optimization guidelines. You have to understand what's happening in search engine optimization. Things are changing. If you did a mobile-friendly application, meaning everything can be seen and accessed on a mobile phone, on a smartphone, and you did that in 2015, it's probably already outdated. You've got to go to Google. You've got to understand how all of this gets ranked. So,
but I say this, bravo to you if you've recognized the importance of mobile.
Yes.
Because so many have not embraced it.
Yes. Here's another trend. Millennials.
Say it, Kerry. Millennials.
Millennials. I stuck on that N, DC, Oh, well. Don't bleep that out. I make mistakes. It's okay.
It's all right.
That group drives a mobile mentality for small businesses in 2016. The increasing influence of that generation, a group that prefers quick, immediate interactions via mobile devices, is expected to significantly impact the way small businesses approach customer engagement. If you can't respond quickly through technology or otherwise, somebody else will.
And they'll blow right by you.
It's that simple.
You'll
if you can't do
ran.
that, somebody else will. Especially if brick and mortar business, you've got to be that. You got to be what we'll call it mobile friendly. Now, down in this a little further, Kerry, do you see the one where it says, don't just be mobile friendly?
Yes.
Embrace accelerated mobile. Now, here's something, this is a little different. So, yes, we know we have to be mobile friendly, but embrace accelerated mobile. The key word is accelerated. There's now the new trend for 2016 on mobile devices, having your even faster load times on your pages. So, so something comes up, you want it to load real quick.
Yes.
Right? Everything. I hate to say it, guys and gals, speed is important.
Yes.
Mobile access and understanding things.
Think of how far we've come in such a short time to the old dial-up networks.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, Kerry, we're running out of time already. Take a quick look here and see if there's anything you want to really drive home in the last minute or so. Rise of emotional analytics. They're going to be talking about ways how you can gauge your emotions now through some kind of way. So, how you're engaging with your phone and what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're clicking through. Cloud computing, we talked about that. It's going to boom. You got to understand what's going on. Cybersecurity, Kerry, no matter what size business, you got to have, and you need outside help for that. You're not going to understand that on your own, for the how about Bitcoin? The ease of access through the latest technology and the way people pay. Critically important. Understanding Bitcoin, Square, Apple, and Google payment options. Got to understand
Small
that.
business, those things could be your lifeblood. Understanding how to utilize that technology.
Absolutely. So once again, the article is from Business News Daily. 50 small business trends and predictions for 2016. You got to take a look at this and learn from it. We need to wrap up another Business Builder Show, the show that is dedicated to entrepreneurs, small business owners, and professionals who seek excellence. Did you text me during the show? If not, you still have time. Or anytime, text me at 570-815-1626. That's 570-815-1626. For Marty Wolff, Kerry, Kearney, and DC Taylor, thank you for listening to the Business Builder Show. You have an awesome week.
Bringing the business classroom to you. It's the Business Builder Show with Marty Wolff.